Chandra from the NR Hour Sports Show. This is episode 679. We're joined by special guest Jesse Chavez. He's a MLB pitcher. I'm joined by special co-host Sean from his the Champ podcast. Go check him out. He does some great stuff. But Jesse, we're honored to have you on today. Obviously, you have a great MLB career, and obviously you still planning on pitching. But we'll get to all of that. But first of all, how are you and your family doing so far in this new year?
Thank you for having me, first of all. Appreciate it. We're doing good so far, minus not having a job, but been down this road before. But it gives me time to just relax and just spend time with the family that the season you don't get to do as often, especially after last year, being in quarantine and not having them see me on the road or visit us and stuff like that. That kind of stunk a little bit, but this time off has been a blessing for us. Even though with what's going on in the world today with this pandemic, we're still capitalizing on some things. Me and my wife talk about it all the time. A lot of people look at it as a negative. We're looking at it as a positive because we tend to build relationships that we've kind of lost throughout the baseball seasons over the years, that we kind of rebuild those and bring those a little bit closer, for the future.
Where are you guys located right now?
We're out here in Riverside, California.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I'll let Sean start it off with the question.
Yeah. Who inspired you to become a pitcher?
From what my parents tell me, my first word was ball. And I started a ball at 2 years old, and my dad kind of just ran with it a little bit. He saw I had something. Kind of sounds cliche, like everybody says, but it's the honest truth when we say it as players. It's somebody saw something in us, and we took it and ran with it. And that's what I kind of did. I've been throwing a ball since I was 2, and been able to kind of have some sort of touch with it. Growing up playing 2 sports, being a quarterback and a pitcher, then playing other positions, kind of helped out as well as far as like arm angles, filling release points, things like that. And that's kind of where it all started. And I gotta thank my dad for introducing me to the game a little bit.
So so while you were growing up and then working on your craft, and when did you start realizing that you can potentially make it to the majors? And when did people start realizing your talent? And who did you look up to in baseball when you were growing up?
So when I first realized I had something, it was my grandfather. It's like I hit this target. He picked up a little rock, hit this target. He goes, "You got something, kid." And he passed when I was 10, and never got to see me. What happened, but that moment on, I kind of like something clicked a little bit. And then from then on, it was just, all right, I was always watching baseball, always understand, never had a favorite team growing up. So that was kind of cool. So I was never really, obligated to one team or biased about one thing, and never really got to be so one-sided about it. So I just learned the sport, loved it, grew up learning the game, understanding the game, but never knew what it would take to get to the big leagues, in all honesty. I knew it took work, but I didn't know what kind of work. I just thought you were either going from when you signed to there or whatever the case may be. I didn't know the process to how to get there. So I remember in my sophomore year of college just talking to our closer just in the outfield during playoffs, like, "Hey, what are we doing after this? How, what's the plan?" Had no idea what baseball would, bring us, because I was delivering pizzas at the time.
Yeah.
And then, I just always looked up to Pedro Martinez.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I envisioned as a young kid. Because he was small, I was small. I still am. And to see what he did and what that transpired into, it was amazing. And that kind of, every time I went out on the mound, that's who I went out there as. I tried to mimic him, tried to be who he was. And, just, you're not bigger than me on that day because I'm on the mound today. And, if I believe my stuff, I'm going to win the battle. And no matter how good of a hitter you are, how much power you have, I think if you believe that, you'll succeed. So, a lot of things in that went into what I wanted to become, but never knew what it would be.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
So Nathan, you're a huge advocate for women in baseball, right?
Mhm.
See, like throughout the history, there's like not a lot of like females like not having opportunities. So Jesse, my question is, what is like your like reaction to have the first female manager Kim Ning and the first female coach in Bianca Smith?
I think it's awesome. I have 3 daughters,
Mhm.
so that's amazing. They know the game, they just don't have interest in it. But to see what's happening with Miss Smith with the Giants and Ms. Ng with the Marlins, I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
See how that next step is being, moved. You started seeing it with referees.
Mhm.
That was a big thing. That was huge. Now you're starting to see it in multi sports and things like that. And I just think it opens up so many doors. And why? Why do we have to limit it to, just one gender,
Right.
as far as that goes? So I just think, by opening the doors for females, because they play the same sport as well.
Yep.
They just don't throw overhand. And bases aren't as far, things are different, but it's still coming in hot, from that that close and that low underhand. It's tough.
Yeah.
So for us as players, and I'm speaking for myself as a player, I don't think it's right for us to take it away from them. I
Right.
think it's more so the general public that looks down on it.
Right.
So I don't get it, and it's not for me to get what other people are trying to do. It's just for me to what I see and understand, and I think it's great to see both of them setting the standards and the pathway for the future females that want to get into this game.
Hmm. Yeah. So obviously you made your major league debut in 2008 with the Pirates. So what was that like when they gave you the first opportunity to start your career? And if I'm not mistaken, did you get to play with Garrett Cole and Jamison Tyon that year, or was that?
No, I did not.
Oh,
No,
okay.
that was they were after. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like starting your career in Pittsburgh?
Oh, it was awesome.
Mhm.
Um, Everybody wants to start it with the team they're drafted by,
Yeah.
but being able to get it with the team that I was
Yeah.
traded to, that makes it a little bit equal in that aspect of it. So, I mean, I remember Trent, the manager at the time, Trent Jewett, he goes, "It's not going to hit you till you get through the tunnel on the way from the airport." Sure enough, as soon as I get through the tunnel, he calls me. He goes, "Hey, what happened?" I said, "Man, it just hit me." It was like it was on the dot. As soon as I got through the tunnel, he called,
Wow.
and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing." Just the drive in, the scenery. You guys have been there to PNC Park. You know how beautiful it is, just on the outside. Then you get inside, you see how beautiful it is. From the backdrops and stuff like that with the bridges and the Clemente Bridge, then the buildings in the back, the way they light it up, it's amazing.
Mhm.
Granted, it was a day game, so I didn't get to experience that part, but it was very awesome. I was very fortunate, very thankful for them to give me the opportunity to, still, get that chance to still be here, I guess.
Right.
Um, so you want to continue pitching with like in the league, right, Jesse?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So like down the road, could you see yourself like managing a MLB team?
Nah, I'd rather be a pitching coach. I think I can relate to a lot of young kids, a lot of guys, just from the path that I had to take, the different arm angles I've had to throw from, um, the different people I've came across that have helped me along the way, conversations we've had. Mm, I mean, I just feel like I'm not saying I'll have every answer, but I think I can relate to a lot of kids that, from the business side can kind of, put it out there in a little bit easier terms for them to understand as they, move forward in their career.
So this is a two-part question here. Obviously, you pitch for a lot of different teams, and you've been in different clubhouses. So for you, what have you learned throughout your career, when you were on this different teams, learning different players' personalities and your coaching staff, and also And have any teams contacted you this off season about potential contract?
To answer the first one, it's first and foremost, be a good teammate. Treat that person next to you how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
You're going to battle with each other for 162, not including the spring training games. So that's the biggest thing, is you have to be respectful, understandable, because it's not just about you. We don't know what happened to that person on the way to the field. Somebody could have cut them off, put them in a bad mood. Some things could be going on at home. Baby could have kept them up all night. Wife, girlfriend, we don't know what happened. So you got to be respectful in that clubhouse, first and foremost, because if you're not going to be respectful out there, once you step between those lines. That was the first thing I learned. I was fortunate enough to come up with some really good veterans, not only with Pittsburgh, but I learned a lot as well the next year in Atlanta. And that kind of helped me pave the way for who I am today, as far as going with the teammate and things like that. Can relate to a lot of guys. For the second one, we haven't, contacted with a handful of teams. It's just we're coming off a shortened season. We don't know what's happening. There's still a lot of big names out there that aren't signed. And, I'm just a middle reliever swingman dude that just trying to hang out, still get outs. That's about it.
Yeah, so just a follow-up question to that. Actually, our friend Sean, our other friend Sean from the SK podcast, you should definitely check his page out. Go on his show too. And he wants to know, would you consider pitching for the Yankees? We're all Yankee fans here, except actually Sean here, who's here right now, he's a Red Sox fan, but me and the other Sean were Yankee fans. Would you consider pitching for the Yankees if they give you the opportunity?
I mean, any team that gives me an opportunity to still pitch in the big leagues is amazing.
Yeah.
That's, anytime we can still put that uniform on, that's something that we'll always take. So if anybody tells you different, they're lying.
Yeah, Nathan. Yeah, even though I'm a Red Sox fan, we're all friends here.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, it's like any team. It's like you really don't have a specific team. It's just like whoever calls you first, you're willing to take. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to now it's coming to the point where it's about family as well.
Yeah.
Seeing what they like, where their fits are as well, taking into consideration, because it's not just about me now.
Right.
I got a daughter that's going to be graduating. She's a junior now, but after next year, come June, I'll have to go somewhere, for a graduation. So hopefully that'll help. That'll, work out, things like that. And hopefully we don't have to stay at home and have the virtual graduation.
Right.
But
yeah, that would suck if that's the case.
that'd be terrible. But, things like that. Middle one's going to be going to middle school, and the older one's starting her grade school. So little things like that I got to take into consideration as well, and what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. So I know I'm just curious. Obviously you started some you've been a starter in the league too, if I'm not mistaken. And so what's the transition like going from a start to a bullpen guy to a starter, and going back and forth? What's that transition like? Was it like a hard transition at first, or what did you learn from that?
No, it's hard going from a reliever to a starter because you're not built up for it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just rush to it. But going from a reliever to a starter, or a starter to a reliever and then back to a starter, that should be fairly simple, because you already had a workout program as a starter, and then you should keep it going as a reliever, because there's a possibility every time that you have a chance to go back to the rotation.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's at crunch time at the end of the season when they need to give somebody an extra break and you need to make a start.
Right.
They can't rely on you to go 3 or 4. They need you to go 5, 6. So that way your bullpen doesn't get worn out, because chances are your bullpen's been taxed because you're late in the season and you're probably grinding.
Right.
So I think that's a little bit easier doing that part. Mentally, it's tough, because as a relief, when you're a starter going to the bullpen, you kind of don't know when you're going to go in, because manager trusted you every 5 days. Now you're down there. Can he trust you in the 7th, 8th, or 9th?
Mm-hmm.
He can, because he trusted you every 5 days, and that's the hardest thing to do. Is break that rotation, break that fraternity. but I just think it's all trying to keep it simple
Yep.
is the biggest key, is when we're trying to transition into both. But being a reliever, it really helps going into the rotation because you're in situations that you can go back to when you're a starter and be like, okay, I'm in the 6th inning, I'm at 85 pitches, I'm a little gassed. What did I do when I threw 3 days in a row
Right.
in the 8th inning? And how did I get out of it? I was tired, but was I physically or was I mentally tired?
Right.
Take a step, process it, and then, get up there and execute.
Yeah. Since you've been to like a lot of like different organizations, have you kept in close contact with your teammates?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I talk to a lot of teammates all the time. I mean, there's probably, we can go handful on each team, probably, for the most part. I throw with Tyler Chatwood over here.
Oh yeah.
We played with the Cubs together.
Right.
Yeah, we throw bullpens together. We talk. We're constantly in communication about, just pitching and things like that. I mean, that's back to the previous question about what can you learn from starter relieving and stuff like that. That's one thing we talked about a lot because he was in that transition.
Yeah.
So he helps me out as well because I'm older doesn't mean I know it more than he does. No, he taught me a lot too. So it's good to have those kind of people around, that kind of presence, those kind of names, in the local vicinity for us to, get together and throw a little bit.
Speaking of Tyler Chatwood, did he recently sign a deal somewhere?
Yeah, with the Blue Jays.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a great pickup for them. I feel like obviously you played for the Blue Jays too, and Toronto's making a lot of moves this all season. But for you, what have you been working on this all season? Obviously last year. Actually, let me ask you this: how tough has it been for you as a pitcher, especially during the last year with the COVID situation and like you had like limited workout things to use. So what have you learned though from last year and now this year to now?
Take advantage of every moment, every minute, because you got to cut your time short. I'm fortunate enough to work out right behind me in the garage. That helps out, so I don't have to go to a gym or anything like that. Expose myself.
Yeah.
I purchased a turf mound a few years ago, so I'll throw off that into a net when I can. I mean, it stinks, but you got to get it done at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to a lot of other guys like Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson. They throw into the net just like I do.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can do it and be successful, I can do the same. And that's kind of what stinks about it. But as far as me going from last off season to this off season, it's finally good to be healthy. Last year I was going through rehab, having to get my chips and loose bodies removed out of the elbow. First time I've ever had an arm problem, something like that. Didn't know what it was like, and so I got that kind of fixed, and now it's kind of started getting extension at the end of last season a little bit my old self,
Right.
and then kind of carried over into the off season, and now I'm feeling strong. So we'll see what happens.
If you have one word to describe yourself, what would it be?
Humble. Like I said earlier in the podcast, I didn't expect what baseball was going to keep bringing me.
Right.
No idea. The last time I remember working out in the house was in the living room using the couch as my, box jump, things like that. So that anything we accomplished, me and my wife as a family, it's a blessing, and we didn't even expect any of it. She still works to this day. She's a longshoreman.
Right.
So we take everything, we have with a grace of God.
So obviously you the last team you pitched for was the Texas Rangers, and what did you like about that team? And obviously you guys competed, almost made it to the playoffs, but you guys competed and you played with Lance Lynn, Corey Kluber too. Obviously he went through that injury. So, but what was the experience like playing at Texas underneath Chris Woodward, the manager?
It was good. Me and Woody played together his last year in 2012 with the Blue Jays. So we had teammate relationship, and then it transpired into when I was with the Dodgers, him as a coach, and then him as a manager. It was
Yeah.
kind of cool, but we always kept in touch through the years. It was good to play for him. It was great. Seeing him come in and learn right out the bat, it's awesome. You always appreciate that, seeing your friend do that. And now he's, you're seeing it looking at it as a friend, and then looking at it as the player, seeing it come about. It's awesome watching him grow as a manager.
Yeah.
I wish, nothing but the best and all the success over there. And it was great over there. Team drafted me. There's the reason why I went back there twice. You always, you want to retire with the same team. I was, hoping to stay there for a little bit, but things didn't happen. Always a change, and you just get ready for the next one. That's kind of where I can relate to some of the young kids when things can happen.
Yeah. So just a follow-up question to that. Obviously, you guys play with Kluber. So how tough was it as a teammate watching him go down with the injury? And obviously, he's coming back strong. He signed with the Yankees this offseason. So what do you think? What was the reaction when he went down, and what do you think he'll bring to the Yankees?
It stung. You lose, a quality start every 5 days with him on the mound. That's quality start usually ends up in a W. So you kind of lose a W every 5 days. And especially last year with the shortened season.
Yeah.
It was huge for us, but health is the number one thing, more than a W at the end of the day, because it's not just throwing the baseball that you have to do. You got to go home. You got kids. You got family you got to deal with as well. You want to do that everyday life. Be able to pick your kid up. Throw the ball around with your kid without any pain or grimace, because your kids don't like seeing you in pain.
Mm-hmm.
So now that seeing him healthy, onto that note, it's amazing what he can do. Hopefully he's back to that. Looks like he's back to that Cy Young form, and you get him on the bump, you get him under the lights, switch inside of those special players, and he's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be fun to watch.
Sean?
We got pretty much covered it.
All right, but so how grateful are you to be in this position right now? Obviously, you're still waiting for a team to call you, but how grateful are you to be in this position with you and your family and your kids, and being able to play the game that you love and making your family proud, and just this succeeding in life?
Oh, it's awesome. Wake up every day, brush my teeth, telling myself,
Mm-hmm.
Don't mess it up. Thank them every day for what we've got, what we're able to do, the gift we've been given, gift my dad instilled in me.
Yeah.
Just being able to throw a baseball again for me this off season the way I can. I haven't been able to in the last few years. Going into the season, it's been awesome.
Right.
I can't wait to wake up and throw the ball again. I see a ball lying around, I want to throw it, but I know I can't. Just got to wait a little bit. But we're just so thankful for everything. My kids, being able to be with them on the daily, it helps out a lot. I know they probably don't think it just because I'm at home, but I really do appreciate it. I appreciate them just for being here for the last, better parts of 20 years. And my daughter for the last 17,
Right.
being able to follow me through it. The ups, the downs, the ins, the outs. It's been a blessing to have them, them by my side and her to watch it and grow with it. I remember me and Volquez were talking this year, Edison Volquez, and
Yeah.
he remembers our first instructs. And he's like, man, time flies. And I said, man, does it?
Yeah.
I said, you're gonna find out real soon.
Wow.
Sure enough, he goes home and he tells me every time it's crazy how fast they grow. So we're really thankful and really blessed to be doing this still, and hopefully to be doing it for a few more years.
Yeah, you deserve another opportunity, because I feel like you can still pitch in the league, and obviously you had a great career, and hopefully someone comes calling for you. You can be a big help on a playoff contending team this year. Obviously, 162 games this year, but hopefully some team comes calling. But for you, what's it like just to be connected with other shows? Like, actually, I found you. I'm good friends with Lambeau Media. I saw your interview with Lambeau Media, and that was awesome. So what's it like just connecting with other shows like us and Lambo and the other interviews you've done so far.
Oh, just getting to meet new personalities, meet new guys. Just seeing actually what you guys think about the game. You know, what your inputs are.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool to hear that. We don't get to hear that too often. You know, we usually get asked questions and boom, boom, they look, turn their head down, write what we said, and then look up and say, okay, and we're off.
Yeah.
Usually we don't get to hear your guys' response or inputs like that. So that's kind of cool. Kind of adds a little bit different dynamic to it and makes for, better conversation. So that's kind of what, it's kind of what I like about these things.
So what advice would you give to young athletes that are trying to get into whatever field they are and they're trying to get to their goals and achieve it? So what advice would you give them?
Ears open. You're always going to make adjustments. You're never not going to have the right answer. When you think you got it, you're probably not going to have a team calling. You're not going to be playing anymore. That's just because you're uncoachable. I was told that early on, and I was like kind of in awe because I dropped sight on him. But it kind of baffled me a little bit. Like, how am I uncoachable when I changed my arm slot for you guys? But so you just keep your ears open, keep your nose down, and keep on the task at hand. That's what I always say. The task at hand is every off season you go into working on refining what you did last year and working on what you need to for the next year. And there's always be a cycle, and you'll always be learning yourself. So eyes open and always ears open. Keep on the task at hand, and you'll be around for a long time.
So I do this fun little segment on the show. It's called the rapid fire segment. But before we get to that, I just want to bring up an important thing that we're part of. So me and my co-host Alyssa, we partnered up with the Hugh Jackson Foundation. Obviously, he's a former NFL coach, and he's trying to get back into coaching, but they're mainly focused on this foundation, and we're ambassadors for them. And this month is Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and we're trying to help them prevent human trafficking from happening and making sure these kids and other people make the right choices and make the community safer. So when you guys get a chance, go visit the foundation website, www.hughjackson.org foundation. And please go check out their page. I'll send you their Instagram page, and we're just grateful to be part of it and helping them out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I'll definitely go check it. Yeah, send me the info.
Yeah, so before we get to the rapid fire segment, do you want to get your beer? Oh, right there. So you ready for this rapid fire segment?
All right, let's go.
Kawhi Leonard's laugh or Kevin Hart's laugh?
I'll take Kawhi because I'm a Clippers fan. I like Kevin Hart.
Sean, you want to?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, favorite food.
Favorite food?
Yeah, favorite
tacos.
food.
Tacos.
So obviously you played for the Dodgers. So what was it like seeing the Dodgers win the World Series this year in a shortened season?
It was awesome. It was good, seeing the guys I played with finally get that ring, that elusive one. And especially with what happened, this year, it's kind of good to see the guys that were able to live through it and see it. With Tommy passing and him being there and finally witnessing it, after, a few heartbreaking seasons. So it's kind of good to see that happen, and see those guys get that ring.
All right.
I know it's down the road, but what's your prediction of the World Series for this year?
Hopefully whatever team I'm on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of stacked teams out there. A lot of teams are making moves, and there's a lot of, small market teams that didn't make moves that are still able to compete.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be a fun 162.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, how was it tough for you and your family? Obviously, this is a business, every sport, but was it tough for you and your family moving from different team to team, like every year pretty much? Was it tough for you guys?
Yeah. Hardest part is in season. The, easiest part's out of the, the off season, just because you're able to get your living situated and stuff like that, where you want to. But when it's in season, you have no choice. You just got to get there and get to the field as quick as possible. My wife was with me, fortunately, with two of them. and she kind of had to wear the brunt of one of them.
Hmm.
And she's like, "Man, this stinks." I was like, "Yeah, it kind of sucks." Especially when she had 3 kids with her by herself. So that was hard. But one of them I was with her, so that kind of helped out a little bit. But it's not fun during the season because you make relationships. You want to go to battle for 8 months out of the year with the same guys you report to spring training with. But we know how the business is. You're either good and you're going to contender, or you're a throw-in and going to somebody else. So understanding that wherever you're going, you still have to go out there and do your job. It doesn't matter what you feel anymore. You still have to go out there and put up zeros or get hits, get knocks, get the guy in, whatever you got to do. So that's kind of, where we have to prepare ourselves for is, doesn't matter if it's a good situation or not, you still got to go there and do your job and make it a good situation. So that's kind of, how being traded or moved kind of stinks a little bit.
Right. Sean?
Good.
All right. So I just favorite thing to do right now outside of baseball.
Golf and drive my cars.
Mm-hmm.
My little classic. Yeah, just trying to refine that golf swing. But we've had so much wind out here in Southern California; it's been a mess.
Right.
And obviously, we were on lockdown, so we couldn't do much.
Yeah.
I stink at putting. I practice it and it's not good. And then I go out there and I still can't do it. So I'm like, why am I practicing it?
Mm-hmm.
But at least I saved my ball on the putting green and not on the course, so that helps.
Toughest hitter that you faced so far in your career?
Toughest one?
Mm-hmm.
They're all tough. Anybody with a bat in their hand is tough. I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to think through the teams or something like that. I like facing Trout. It's a fun battle with me and him. It's a great one. Usually shows that he's on top, when he comes out on it, but in the box score. But we have some good battles in there. It's pretty fun. It's funny. You look at him.
Actually, speaking of Trout, you were teammates with him when you were in the Angels. So what was that like, getting the experience of being teammates with him in the locker room?
Oh, it was great. It was awesome. He's every bit that everybody likes about him on the field, you should like about him in the clubhouse and off the field. Class act, great teammate, always never doesn't have the time to talk to you, never doesn't not go out of his way to talk to you, or, you shouldn't feel like you should be ashamed because it's Mikey that you shouldn't go up to him and talk to him. But it's awesome. He's a great teammate, great person. Always wants everybody to be together, as a team. So he's the one that tries to rally the troops together and get everybody on board. So what you do on the field is a small part of what you get to experience as a teammate.
So so whenever you get the opportunity to pitch again, what are you most looking forward to? What are your goals? Do you have any like set goals for yourself whenever you sign with the team?
Nah, I'm looking forward just to the lights on and hearing in the stands that's actually real and not coming from the speaker. Hearing just that's the most we miss a lot, down in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Just being able to run out through the gate, have your conversations with the security guards, the vendors that walk up and down the aisle at the end and sit at the bottom of the gate, just being able to talk to them as they're looking around, just give them some sense of normalcy. It gives us a sense of normalcy as well, because, they're making our day by taking our mind off of it as well as we're doing it for their job, during that moment. So I think, doing that's something that we miss the most, is kind of that lights on and the noise with the lights. I mean, they were on last year, but the noise with the lights kind of makes it a little bit more fruitful.
Right. It's like, how weird was it not seeing fans in baseball games, and obviously those cupboard faces, and how weird was it not seeing that with the speakers too, like you said?
It was weird. You shouldn't take anything like that to go out there and do something you should already be able to do without anybody there. Nobody's cheering you on in the off season in your workouts,
Right.
Bullpens or stuff like that, and you're still able to get your job done. But that just goes to show how much effect a fan has on us,
Mm-hmm.
how much impact they have on what we actually like to go out there and do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we shouldn't think like that, but it does. Not having fans there does, take a toll on you
Right.
and kind of make it feel, man, are we really doing this type of deal? It kind of feels like you won a lottery and you're in a convention sometimes.
Hmm.
And it's so quiet. So that's
It's
kind
hard
of
to
the blessing.
transition from like no fans to actual fans once everything's like once COVID's dialed down.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And if you're a team that's constantly sold out, showing up to the field and you hear nothing, you're like, man, this kind of stinks.
Yeah.
Nobody's running. It's a ghost town. Driving into the ballpark last year, there was nobody on the roads in Arlington, and it kind of, stunk because we had a new stadium,
Hmm. Yeah.
brand new stadium
Yep.
for the fans. And, we were all anxious to go see it,
Mm-hmm.
and experience it. We weren't allowed to, and it kind of sucked because the playoffs, those teams were allowed to do it.
Right.
They got to experience what we should have got to do it on day one. So we were kind of, I was a little bit upset by watching that at the end. But I don't know how other people feel.
Speaking of the new ballpark, what was it like pitching in there? Well, obviously, hopefully they have fans in there soon, like you said. But when you were pitching on that mound, what was it like just seeing how amazing they built the stadium, and what was it like just pitching there?
Oh, it was nice. It was well lit. Played fine as far as dimensions wise for us pitchers.
Right.
The bullpens were nice. The bullpens were, well spaced. We had our room back there in the back that was perfect for us to sit back there. I mean, and watch the game from a different angle when we were allowed to. The dugouts were gigantic.
Hmm.
When we went for the spring training 2.0, we got to see the other side, and they did a A+ job on both sides. Kind of you kind of weren't at work. You weren't at the field, so to speak,
Right.
when you weren't on the field. So that kind of helps out. Kind of makes it a little bit easier. We didn't have the roof open for very many until the end, just because of what was going on. But it's a really nice stadium. And I mean, everybody saw it during the playoffs.
Right. So I'm gonna put you on the spot here right now. Actually, who do you think has a bigger TV screen, the Texas Stadium or Jerry's World?
Oh, Jerry's World. Yeah, our Texas Rangers is big.
Yeah.
That's a big one. But you can only see it from the first base side,
Right.
or third base side. Sorry,
Yeah.
Kind of weird. If you're like down the right field line, it's kind of tough to see.
Right.
But then again, you got another one in left field that you shouldn't miss a thing. So,
Favorite memorable game that you played so far in your career?
the Yankee game where we went 18 innings.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah.
I went 5 2/3 out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one was probably that one, and the playoff game against the wild card game one with the Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
That one. This is the first playoff game I got to throw in.
Right. So do you have a nickname that people give you?
Flacco.
Hmm.
That was given to me when I was with the Rangers the first time.
Who do you have? Who do you have in the Super Bowl?
We're gonna go with Father Time. Me and my wife talked about it yesterday.
Yeah.
I think we're going.
You go with. Mm-hmm.
I just want him to be the last one to win back to back.
Right.
Right.
As he's still playing. If Patrick wants to win it after 2 times in a row, which he probably will eventually. that's fine. But I think I want to see Brady do it because who was it? No, I get it. He has weapons more than he did in New England, year in and year out, because Tom made his players around him. He had a lot more slots over there than he does in Tampa. But I just want to see him do it just to show that it doesn't matter how old you are. As long as you're healthy and you still feel like you can compete and you can go out there without embarrassing yourself, go out there and do it. Just because somebody says you can doesn't make sense.
Right.
And
How,
he doesn't get so
Mhm.
he lasts forever.
So how did you become a Clippers fan?
Um, I didn't like the Lakers. I don't know why. Then it wasn't going to be a Warriors fan or a Suns fan, which are the closest. I was like, let me just go to the Clippers. Right across the street. Well, at the time, same arena, but it's like, let me just try and see what happens. And, we've kind of developed into a really good franchise.
Hmm.
And wanting to go in the right direction.
Yep. So
It's the sixth man every year. I don't get why the sixth man was never in the
yeah,
lineup.
Lou
I don't get
Williams,
it.
Lou Will. Yeah. Speaking of the Clippers, obviously you guys are having a great season this year. So obviously I don't think Kawhi and Paul George is out right now, right, because of the COVID situation. So do you think the Clippers can withstand however how long they're out, or?
This will tell if we can, when they come back, if we can make a deep run in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
If guys can step up. Kawhi and Paul, they take a lot of damage on the body. They play a lot.
Yeah.
So they're gonna, coming down the end, they're gonna have to sit some minutes. And if they lose those games where they're up and they lose, the other teams comes back, which we've been notorious to do, then those guys really are, kind of need some help, so to speak, and not just run with a two-man team.
So take me back. What was it feeling like when you got your first major league strikeout?
I was against Henry Blanco on the debut. It was cool. I didn't know what to do. I was like, do I get the ball? Do I throw it out? But they threw it out, and I was like, oh, cool. It was kind of fun. It was cool.
So the last two things before I let you go, this is a question I've been bringing up to all my guests about the late Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna. Obviously, you have daughters too. So do you guys remember where you were at that day? And yesterday was the 1 year anniversary. So do you remember where you were at that day when it happened?
We were here at the house, and we live up on a canyon, right? On a little hill in our neighborhood. It's a little elevated. And we couldn't see outside, right? And I work out early in the morning. I'm up here in the garage at 4 in the morning, and I walked out and I waking up and I'm telling my wife, I'm like, after that happened, I'm like, we couldn't see anything here. I could imagine what it's like on the coast. I was in awe. We were in shock. We couldn't believe it. And it just didn't make sense. It still doesn't to this day. I had to get up in something like that when, it didn't look like you should have. And it's a sad thing because now, you have 3 other daughters that are growing up without a father and a sister. It's a shame. It's sad. We lost what started the snowball of so many legends going down. And it stinks. We're not going to see what, Gigi could have became. And we're not going to see what Kobe was going to become after what we know and fell in love with. That's kind of the part that we don't know how to move on after, I guess, out here, especially in LA, is where do you go from here knowing somebody that impactful was doing so much and he was just getting started.
Hmm.
So that kind of part that's hard to get.
Yeah, it was a sad day for everyone. It's like it was tough to reel in. It's like
Yeah. So obviously we lost another legend in baseball, Hank Aaron. So what was your thoughts on that? And do you have any like moments from him, like memories for Hank Aaron? Did you watch him growing up?
Yeah, well, I mean, he was retired, but
Yeah.
the highlight, obviously having over here WGN and Turner Network always having Braves and Cubs games on at the time I got home was awesome. So I was able to see, they would always throw Hank highlights on there. And then when I was able to play for the Braves in 2010, it was awesome. Every time I saw him, there's one day in spring training, he's in the dugout talking to reporters. Go ask, one of the guys, I was like, hey, will Hank sign a ball? I was like, well, Mr. Aaron. They're like, Hank? I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm calling him Mr. Aaron. And they're like, yeah. So I just sat there, and he did his interview, sat there for about 20 minutes and waited. I'm still in uniform. Just waited, because we were done for the day. Just finally got a chance. He goes, Jesse. He said, Jesse. And I was like, yes, Mr. Aaron. And I was like, what are you doing? I was like, can you sign a ball? He goes, why don't you just come up first? And ask, I would have done it. I was like, well, because you were talking? He goes, oh, I could do it and talk at the same time. So that's my only, that was our little laugh, back in 2010, and I'll never forget it. It was a sad day. Just what he meant off of the field. Sorry if I keep glancing up, it's on the TV. But it's something that, like, you just never think that they're going to pass because they're so impactful. Legends are.
Right.
Like, there's no chance this guy can ever die. And what are we going to do when they do?
Yeah.
Exactly what we're doing. You don't prepare for it. Regardless of what you say, it's coming. It's coming, but you're not going to prepare for it because you don't want to.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sad part that we have as far as wanting to hold on too much.
Yep.
But we all got to look at it that, baseball's got a sweet pickup game up there.
Yeah. And the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, and essential workers right now?
Thank you very much. We appreciate everything you guys are doing. I mean, you guys don't get enough love that you guys should get. The hours you guys are doing, the taxes it's taking on your body, the toll it's taking on you mentally. Can't imagine. Not only that, then you add your family on top of that. Only thing we can do is commend you and applaud you for everything you guys have done. And all I can say is thank you very much for keeping us safe.
Yeah. Well said. And there it is. This wraps up episode 679 with the NR Hour Sports Show with MLB pitcher Jesse Chavez. Thank you for joining us today. This has been an honor, and I'll be posting this on all social media formats so people see your story. And also, you deserve another chance, man. So hopefully, some team calls you this offseason. And like I said, you're a great pitcher, and keep grinding. And hopefully, you get another chance. And if you do, we'll be rooting for you throughout the season. And you and your family stay safe.
Appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah.
I'm itching to get back out there.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see you back on the mound.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.